He's an ugly little spud. Here's a look at the Weta Workshop Mini Epics Ghostbusters Slimer. From Weta Workshop, the Ghostbusters Mini Epics are high-end vinyl figures that have been digitally sculpted by 3D artist Muro Santini. Hungry yet harmless, just watch your step. What goes in this little spud must come out. I really lucked out finding these Ghostbusters Mini Epics, of all places, at my local comic book store. I had already picked up the Peter Venkman, but that was the only one that they had at the store, and that was, I feel like, a year or so ago. Finally, I went in going for something else, and sure enough, along the back wall, they had the entire set. Even they also had Venkman as well. So I picked up all of them, well, except for Venkman. So upcoming reviews of all the Ghostbuster Mini Epics will be coming to this channel. I'll tell you, though, if you're looking to pick up these for yourself, they're not cheap. They're considered, well, I would consider them to be more premium collectibles, and along with that, the premium collectible price point. If you find these online, they're on average about $38 to $39. At my local comic book store, they were $41.99 a piece. It didn't matter what character it was, whether it was the oversized Terror Dog or if it was the smaller Ghostbuster, they were $41.99. So like I said, they're not cheap. But we are going to be looking at them in some upcoming reviews. We're going to slide over the Slimer. And we're going to bring in the Peter Venkman that we already looked at before. And I feel again like I looked at this guy last year. I knew at the back of my mind, I kept thinking to myself, okay, if I ever come across more of these, I will definitely want to be picking them up. And really was surprised to go into that store one day and they had all of them against the shelf. A little more of a higher price point, but at least I picked up all of them. And upcoming reviews of those will be happening soon. Just before we have a look at Slimer, though, we'll have a look at the little booklet that comes included with these. I always like looking through these booklets. The Mini Epics from the folks over at Weta Workshop. We'll open this up quickly. And I want to show you guys the cast of characters that are released so far. And they really have covered quite a lot. Lord of the Rings, Alita, Missing Link, Planet of the Apes, Lord of the Rings again, Borderlands, and the Ghostbusters, of course, in the back bottom corner. I really like the design of these. I own a couple of aliens there as well. Still have yet to find either of the Xenomorph or the Xenomorph SDCC exclusive, which I'm sure are probably not going to find that at local stores. And then on the back side, it just gives you a quick read-up of the characters. The first wave consisted of Slimer, Peter Venkman, and Egon Spangler. Again, the first time I had gone out looking for these, the only one I was able to find was the Peter Venkman. But even like the art styling is really, really interesting on these. Going to put that to the side. And let's have a look at Slimer here. Technically, I suppose I could have gone through the rest of the Ghostbusters team before getting down to the Ghost, but I couldn't resist. Slimer is just too good to pass on the opportunity to look at him more recently. You can see here, he is down and eating something. He's eating a whole bunch of spaghetti and meatballs. The really neat design of this is the fact that down below here, you can actually see there's the plate, the platter that would have had the spaghetti still in. And there's actually still spaghetti in there, but this is probably spaghetti that has found its way out of Slimer's body. And as you can see, trickled back to the original plate that he was eating from. Now, the base, he does technically have a serviceable base, which is basically just like a translucent green plastic. All of this, by the way, is plastic that they've molded these from. But I really think that's neat, especially when you're going to do a character like Slimer. He's going to be floating after all, but finding the ways to have him standing would be a little more difficult. You obviously don't want to just have a post underneath his body. But I think they've crafted a rather interesting way of displaying the figure in a levitating or hovering pose by actually having the slime entrail coming out from the bottom of his belly, or the bottom of what would be, I suppose, of his belly, as he's engulfing all the spaghetti from hand here. The spaghetti is sculpted rather nicely, and you can see, sort of see how it's traveled down his gullet here, even right to the point that they actually have an Adam's apple sculpted in there, which I think is a really nice touch as well. He's sort of a stylized caricature of what Slimer would look like in the movie. A really large body, smaller sized head, kind of like these little curly cues that they've used for his eyebrows. His eyes are actually a really nice color as well. Not more the traditional white, but instead kind of more of like an off yellow color with the red pupils in the middle there, red irises and pupils in the middle of it. They even put in a little bit of the reflection of light in the corners of his eyes. I think that's a nice touch as well. The teeth are sculpted pretty cool as well. Again, not quite a white. I mean, these would be quite gnarly looking teeth anyways. But they've actually sculpted like little lines on the tops where the teeth would connect to the gums. The pose is actually kind of interesting on this guy as well. The top hand, as you can see, is what's feeding the spaghetti into the front of his mouth. And then the bottom of the hand is sort of what seems almost like catching the spaghetti as it's dropping out from the bottom of his body, I guess, of his belly. The coloring on this guy is really nice as well. It starts more so of a lime green color, but then they've gone in and they've airbrushed some of the airs to bring out some really gnarly looking features on this guy. Like little boils and little large bumps and stuff all over his body. It also works well too that the way that they've painted this guy, they've kept him wet looking. I mean, Slimer you wouldn't want to have as a matte finished collectible, so I'm glad to see that they've actually used more of a clear coat when painting on top of finishing off all the nice finer features that they've sculpted on this guy. Spinning him around so you can see it from all the sides. I like also the way that the tongue is catching the spaghetti. I think that's a nice touch as well. If you don't mind overlooking the price point of what these things are going for, they're rather nice looking collectibles. Breaking the mold of what you traditionally would find at comic book stores as what you would be like the pop collectibles. This is certainly not a pop collectible. Well, it is. It's certainly based on a pop movie, but it really breaks the mold of what you would conventionally think of as a collectible that you would find in stores, picking up and then putting on display. And again, bringing in the Peter Venkman. There's the Peter Venkman. I know we've already covered him off in an earlier review, but it's certainly worth going back and revisiting this character again for how good that sculpt is. Again, it's more a caricature of Bill Murray. Certainly, again, if you guys want to see a full review of him, I've already done it. Again, I want to feel like a year or so ago. Spinning around, you can see even the Proton Pack's been sculpted nicely as well. We will be looking again at the other Ghostbusters and even the Terror Dog. The Terror Dog is fantastic. Can't wait to have a look at him. But these are nice looking collectibles. If you don't mind the price point, and the price point could be the stumbling point, I feel, for some people to go in, see this on a shelf, say, hey, that's kind of neat, picking up a Slimer and looking at it. Yeah, I'm going to pick this up. And then you look at the price point, especially here in Canada, it's $41.99. If you can overlook that, these are nice looking collectibles. And like I said, the rest of the Ghostbuster Epic Minis will be coming soon. So stay tuned for that, as they'll be coming up rather shortly. During my recent field trip, by the way, to that comic book store where I did find the mini epics of the Ghostbusters, I happened to stumble across as well the mini epics of the Alien figures, at least finding Ripley and Kane. So I picked those up as well. It was a very, very expensive field trip that day. But I am happy, though, with these figures. Not really super crazy with the price point that they're charging for these. But again, they're not figures that you would normally find in retail stores. If they were being picked up by places like a Target or Walmart, then they'd be able to produce more of them and produce them at a cheaper price. Unfortunately, the case with these being specialty market collectibles, then of course the price point is going to stay relatively high. And again, to pick up any one of these, locally here for me in Canada, they were $41.99. Ouch. Expensive field trip. But though you'll see on the back of the box, and the reason why I did put the back of the box here and for final looks, that the first wave consists of Slimer, Peter Venkman, and Egon Spangler. Of course, we will be looking at Egon Spangler in an upcoming review, but I like these. It may not be everybody's thing. Some people will just be either stopping short abruptly and say, hey, wait a minute, I'm not paying that price point for these collectibles, as good as they may be. Or other people may not just like the design styling of these. I kind of like the way that they look like caricatures. Slimer's, I guess, a little less the caricature than Peter Venkman and Egon Spangler, but he's still sort of a stylized look of what Slimer looks like. And actually, he's painted really well, which I'm hoping was conveyed properly here in this review. The coloring that they've used for him, that clear plastic that they've used sort of for the slime that's coming out from the bottom of his body, trickling down onto the floor, all comes together to be a really nice looking Slimer when you put him on display. Have you picked up any of the mini epics from Weta Workshop? If you have, let me know down below which ones you've actually picked up, or if these are collectibles, despite even being the high price point, if these are collectibles that you would find yourself actually picking up if you could find them in stores, online, or otherwise. Always like reading your comments down below. If you guys are also new to this channel, enjoying all the content you're seeing, consider then, if you don't mind me asking, hitting that subscribe button down below, turning on the bell notification, and making sure, yes, you're coming back to this channel, because while we'll be looking at other things as well. There'll be sprinklings of mini epics in there, but there's always tons of new reviews coming your way. So make sure you keep your peepers peeled to this channel. And as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.